First Contact and Cultural Clash. The day Earth joined the Galactic Federation should have been a momentous occasion, filled with celebration and hope for a brighter future. Instead, it became the starting point of a series of misunderstandings that would ripple across the cosmos. Admiral Zaxlora of the Andromeda Confluence stood before the United Nations General Assembly, her translucent, ribbon-like appendages swaying gently in the air-conditioned breeze. Her large, compound eyes scanned the room, taking in the eager faces of Earth's representatives, esteemed members of Earth's governing body. Zaxlora began, her words translated through a small device attached to what passed for her throat. We welcome you to the Galactic Federation. Your species has shown remarkable progress in a short time, and we look forward to the unique perspective you will bring to our collective. A round of applause filled the chamber, but Zaxlora's next words brought it to an abrupt halt. However, we must address the elephant in the room, as your species so colorfully puts it. Earth has been classified as a Class 12 death world, the highest rating on our scale. This designation comes with certain restrictions and expectations. Murmurs of confusion rippled through the assembly. UN Secretary-General Amina Okafor stepped forward, her brow furrowed. Admiral Zaxlora, I'm afraid we don't understand. What exactly does this classification mean for Earth and its people? Zaxlora's appendages twisted in what might have been discomfort. A death world, by our standards, is a planet so inhospitable that it's a wonder any sapient life evolved there at all. The fact that your species not only survived but thrived on such a world is troubling to many members of the Federation. The murmurs grew louder, tinged with indignation. Okafor held up a hand to quiet the assembly. Troubling. Admiral, I assure you that Earth is a beautiful, life-giving planet. Surely there must be some mistake. No mistake, Secretary-General, Zaxlora replied. Your world's gravity, atmospheric composition, temperature extremes, and abundant dangerous flora and fauna all contribute to this classification. Not to mention the frankly terrifying natural disasters your people seem to take in stride. As if on cue, a small tremor shook the building. Most of the human delegates barely noticed, but Zaxlora's appendages coiled tightly around her body. You see, she said, her translator unable to fully convey the mix of fear and awe in her voice. Your planet actively tries to kill you, yet you treat it as a mere inconvenience. Dr. Rajesh Patel, Earth's leading xenobiologist, spoke up. Admiral, while we appreciate the Federation's concern, I fail to see how our planet's characteristics should impact our standing in the galactic community. Surely our technological achievements and cultural contributions speak for themselves. Zaxlora's compound eyes seemed to dim slightly. Dr. Patel, you must understand that many species in the Federation view Deathworlders as unpredictable, dangerous, even. There are concerns about how your inherent resilience and adaptability might upset the delicate balance we've achieved. The room erupted in protests. Okafor once again called for order before addressing the alien diplomat. Admiral, this is unacceptable. We won't stand for being treated as second-class citizens in this Federation because of our planet's nature or our own physical characteristics. Zaxlora raised her appendages in a placating gesture. Please, understand that this is not a punishment. It's simply a matter of galactic security and stability. However, we have a solution that has worked well in integrating other, challenging species. The Admiral activated a holographic display, showing a massive arena-like structure floating in space. This is the Galactic Arena. It serves as a proving ground for species seeking full membership in the Federation. By demonstrating your capabilities in a controlled environment, you can allay the fears of other member species and earn your place among the stars. The human delegates exchanged worried glances. Okafor's voice was tight when she spoke again. And what exactly would these trials entail, Admiral? A series of challenges designed to test physical prowess, mental acuity, and moral fiber, Zaxlora explained. Combat scenarios, puzzle solving, ethical dilemmas, all aimed at showcasing your species' true nature. Dr. Patil interjected. This sounds suspiciously like gladiatorial combat. Admiral, surely a civilization as advanced as the Galactic Federation has moved beyond such barbaric practices. Zaxlora's appendages twisted in what might have been the alien equivalent of a shrug. We find that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. It allows for a clear, undeniable demonstration of a species' capabilities and character. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's place among the stars, their very future, would be determined by their performance in these alien games. The UN Security Council huddled together, speaking in hushed tones before Okafor turned back to Zaxlora. We'll need time to discuss this among ourselves and select a suitable representative, she said, her voice firm. I hope you understand that this is not a decision we can make lightly. Zaxlora inclined her upper body in what the humans assumed was a nod. Of course. You have one standard galactic cycle, approximately 3 of your Earth months, to prepare. Choose wisely, for your champion will carry the hopes of your entire species. As the alien delegation departed, leaving the humans to their deliberations, a palpable tension filled the air. The joy of first contact had been replaced by a grim determination. Humanity had fought long and hard to reach the stars, and they weren't about to let some alien bureaucracy and misguided fears hold them back. Little did the Galactic Federation know, they had just inadvertently awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity, forged in the crucible of their death world, was about to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The trials ahead would not just be a test of their strength, but a testament to the indomitable spirit of a species that had stared death in the face countless times and lived to tell the tale. As the UN delegates dispersed to begin the monumental task of selecting Earth's champion, one thing became clear. The galaxy wasn't ready for humans, but ready or not, humanity was coming. The unexpected champion. The global search for Earth's champion had been exhaustive, intense, and ultimately fruitless. Military specialists, Olympic athletes, and scientific geniuses had all been considered and found wanting. With only a week left before the Galactic Federation's deadline, the United Earth Selection Committee found themselves back at square one. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the committee's lead psychologist, rubbed her temples in frustration. We're approaching this all wrong, she said, addressing the weary faces around the conference table. We keep looking for the peak of human capability in specific areas, but that's not what these trials are about. We need someone who embodies the entirety of human adaptability and spirit. General Wei Chen scoffed. And where do you propose we find this paragon of humanity, Doctor? We're running out of time. As if in answer to his question, a commotion outside the committee room drew their attention. Through the glass walls, they could see a woman in her mid-30s with a messy ponytail arguing with security. Despite being dwarfed by the guards, she stood her ground, gesticulating wildly. What in the world? UN Secretary General Okafor muttered, moving to the door. As she opened it, the woman's voice became clear. Look, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but someone has to talk some sense into you people, the woman was saying. You're going about this all wrong. Okafor raised an eyebrow. And you are? The woman turned, startled, then straightened up. Lisa Chen, ma'am. I'm a high school phys teacher from Brisbane. A collective groan went up from the committee members, but Dr. Rodriguez leaned forward, intrigued. And why do you think we're going about this wrong, Ms. Chen? Lisa's eyes lit up. Because you're looking for superhumans when you should be looking for the most human. These aliens, they don't understand us, right? So we need to send someone who's going to show them exactly what humanity is all about. Adaptability, creativity, and sheer bloody-mindedness. The room fell silent. General Chen opened his mouth to dismiss her, but Dr. Rodriguez held up a hand. Go on, Ms. Chen. You have our attention. Over the next hour, Lisa Chen laid out a perspective that the committee in all their expertise had overlooked. She spoke of the everyday resilience of humans, parents working multiple jobs to support their families, students overcoming learning disabilities, communities rebuilding after natural disasters. She argued that humanity's strength wasn't in creating super soldiers or unbeatable athletes, but in their ability to face any challenge with ingenuity, humor, and unwavering determination. As Lisa finished her impromptu speech, Dr. Rodriguez turned to the committee with a gleam in her eye. "I think we've found our champion." The uproar was immediate. General Chen was apoplectic. "A gym teacher? You want to send a gym teacher to represent Earth in alien gladiatorial combat?" Lisa grinned. "Hey, if you think running a high school dodgeball tournament isn't preparation for Mortal Kombat, you've clearly never met a teenager." Despite the protests, a seed had been planted. Over the next few days, Lisa Chen underwent a battery of tests and evaluations. To everyone's surprise, perhaps except Lisa herself, she excelled in ways they hadn't anticipated. Her physical fitness was well above average, but not exceptional. However, her problem-solving skills, emotional intelligence, and ability to think on her feet were off the charts. A week later, Lisa found herself on a shuttle bound for the Galactic Arena, a massive structure hanging in space like a glittering, deadly jewel. As Earth shrank to a blue marble behind her, Lisa felt the weight of her responsibility settle on her shoulders. Admiral Zaxlora met them at the docking bay, her appendages twitching in what Lisa was beginning to recognize as confusion. "This is your champion?" the alien asked, compound eyes scanning Lisa from head to toe. Lisa stepped forward, extending a hand. "Lisa Chen, Earth's representative. Pleasure to meet you, Admiral." Zaxlora stared at the offered hand before reluctantly extending an appendage. "I see. Well, Ms. Chen, let me show you to your quarters. The trials begin tomorrow." As they walked through the massive structure, Lisa peppered Zaxlora with questions about the arena, the other competitors, and the Federation itself. The Admiral, caught off guard by Lisa's enthusiasm, found herself explaining more than she had intended. "So let me get this straight," Lisa said as they reached her assigned room. "You've got species from all over the galaxy here, each with their own unique biology and abilities, and you expect them all to compete in the same trials." Zaxlora's appendages twisted in discomfort. "The trials are designed to be universally challenging." Lisa snorted. "Yeah, good luck with that. Sounds like a logistical nightmare to me. But hey, should be fun, right?" The Admiral stared at her in disbelief. "Fun? Ms. Chen, these trials will determine your species' standing in the galactic community. Some competitors don't survive. This is not a game." Lisa's expression sobered, but her eyes retained their spark. "Life's not a game either, Admiral, but that doesn't mean we can't find joy in it. Sometimes, that's the only way to get through the tough bits." As Zaxlora left, clearly unsettled by Lisa's attitude, the human champion began to unpack. She pulled out a worn notebook and started jotting down ideas, occasionally glancing at the holographic display showing the arena's layout. To an outside observer, Lisa's preparations might have seemed haphazard at best. She spent hours watching old cartoon reruns, scribbling notes, and at one point requested a large supply of chewing gum, much to the confusion of the arena staff. When other competitors passed by her open door, they saw a human woman alternating between jumping jacks, solving Rubik's cubes, and practicing what appeared to be terrible dad jokes in front of a mirror. Whispers spread quickly through the arena. The humans had sent a madwoman as their champion. The night before the trials were set to begin, Admiral Zaxlora made one final check on all the competitors. When she reached Lisa's room, she found the humans sitting cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by a chaos of papers, gadgets, and for some reason, a small mountain of origami cranes. "Ms. Chen," Zaxlora began hesitantly, "the trials begin at dawn. Are you prepared?" Lisa looked up, her eyes bright with excitement rather than fear. "Ready as I'll ever be, Admiral." "Say, quick question. The arena's environmental controls are centralized, right? and they're designed to adapt to each competitor's needs. Zaxlora's appendages twitched in surprise. Yes, but how did you? Just curious. Lisa interrupted with a grin. Always good to know the lay of the land, you know. Anyway, I should get some sleep. Big day tomorrow. As the Admiral left, more confused than ever, Lisa allowed herself a small, determined smile. The Galactic Federation thought they were testing humanity, but Lisa Chen was about to turn those expectations on their head. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn exactly what it meant to be human, for better or worse. Little did anyone know, Lisa's unorthodox preparation was about to change the course of galactic history. The trials ahead would be unlike anything the Federation had ever seen, and humanity's place among the stars would be decided not by brute strength or advanced technology, but by the inexhaustible creativity and adaptability of a high school gym teacher from Brisbane. The galactic arena was about to get a lesson in humanity, and school was in session. The arena, strength and adaptability. The galactic arena hummed with anticipation as competitors from across the cosmos gathered for the opening ceremony. Lisa Chen stood among them, a solitary human in a sea of alien diversity. She took in the sights around her, beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions. Some floated in containment fields, others lumbered on multiple legs, and a few seemed to phase in and out of visible existence. Admiral Zaxlora's voice boomed across the arena. Welcome, champions of your respective worlds. Today, you begin the trials that will determine your species' place in the Galactic Federation. May you bring honor to your people and enlightenment to us all. As the competitors were led to their starting positions, Lisa couldn't help but notice the wary glances and whispers that followed her. She caught snippets of conversation in the universal translator all participants had been given. Is that the Deathworlder? Doesn't look so tough. I heard their planet tries to kill them daily. Lisa just smiled and waved, causing more confused murmurs. The first trial was unveiled. A massive, ever-shifting maze filled with obstacles and challenges unique to each participant's physiology. The goal was simple: reach the center within the time limit. As the starting horn blared, Lisa watched her alien competitors rush forward, each tackling the maze with their species' particular strengths. The Zorblaxian champion oozed through tiny gaps, while the Pyroclastian simply burned through walls. Lisa, however, stood at the entrance, carefully observing the maze's patterns. She pulled out a piece of chewing gum, unwrapped it, and began to chew thoughtfully. In the observation deck, Admiral Zaxlora turned to Dr. Rodriguez, who had come to oversee humanity's participation. Your champion seems hesitant. Is this a human strategy we're unfamiliar with? Dr. Rodriguez, hiding her own nervousness, simply replied, Lisa has her own way of doing things. Back in the maze, Lisa finally made her move. Instead of plowing through obstacles or using brute force, she began to navigate the maze with an almost dancer-like grace. She slid under closing doors, used momentum to swing across gaps, and at one point, used her chewed gum to create an impromptu rope for climbing. The alien spectators watched in bewilderment as Lisa treated the deadly serious trial like some sort of playground. She even seemed to be humming a tune as she flipped, rolled, and sidestepped her way through dangers that had already eliminated several other competitors. Halfway through the maze, Lisa encountered a section designed to test mental acuity under pressure. As poisonous gas began to fill the chamber, a complex mathematical equation appeared on the wall. The solution would open the exit. While other competitors frantically tried to solve the equation, Lisa calmly pulled out a small mirror from her pocket. She used it to reflect the equation onto the opposite wall, revealing a hidden message in the reverse numbers. With a triumphant "aha," she input the true solution, and the door hissed open. As Lisa progressed, her unorthodox methods began to draw more than just confusion from the spectators. Some started to cheer for the plucky human who treated mortal peril as if it were a mildly challenging aerobics class. In the final stretch of the maze, competitors faced their greatest fear, extracted from their own minds. Lisa found herself in a simulated classroom of rowdy, disrespectful teenagers. For a moment, her confident demeanor faltered. Admiral Zaxlora leaned forward, intrigued. Ah, even the human has fears. Let's see how she handles true terror. But Lisa squared her shoulders, took a deep breath, and strode into the illusory classroom. "All right, you lot," she called out, her voice ringing with authority. "Pop quiz time. First one to behave gets to choose our next PE activity." The simulated students, programmed to be every teacher's worst nightmare, were caught off guard by Lisa's approach. Instead of trying to control them through fear or discipline, she engaged them, turning the challenge into a game. One by one, the illusory troublemakers settled down, unable to compute this unexpected tactic. As the simulation faded, revealing the exit, Lisa couldn't help but laugh. And they thought teenagers were scary. Clearly, they'd never faced a Galactic Federation bureaucrat. Lisa emerged from the maze, not first, but far from last. More importantly, she had completed the trial with a style and approach entirely her own. As medical drones tended to the various injuries and traumas suffered by the other competitors, Lisa was doing cool-down stretches and chatting animatedly with anyone who would listen. "Did you see that anti-gravity section?" she asked a still-smoking pyroclastian. "Reminded me of the time we did a zero-G unit in my class. Had to vacuum ping-pong balls off the ceiling for weeks." Admiral Zaxlora approached Lisa, her appendages twitching in what might have been admiration, confusion, or both. "Ms. Chen, your performance was unexpected. You treated a life-or-death trial as if it were some sort of game." Lisa grinned, wiping sweat from her brow. "Life is a game, Admiral. The trick is knowing when to play by the rules, when to bend them, and when to flip the board and start a new game entirely." The Admiral's translator crackled, unable to fully convey the complexities of human idioms. "I see. Well, you've certainly given us much to consider. Prepare yourself. The next trial begins soon." As Zaxlora walked away, Lisa turned to Dr. Rodriguez, who had come down to the arena floor. "So, how'd I do, Doc? Did I embarrass humanity yet?" Dr. Rodriguez couldn't help but smile. "On the contrary, Lisa, I think you're teaching them more about humanity than we ever could have hoped. But this is just the beginning. The trials will only get harder from here." Lisa's eyes sparkled with determination. "Bring it on. If there's one thing humans know how to do, it's adapt. These aliens think they're testing us, but really, we're the ones schooling them." As Lisa was led away to prepare for the next trial, murmurs rippled through the alien spectators. The human Deathworlder was not at all what they had expected. She hadn't dominated through strength or outsmarted her opponents with superior intellect. Instead, she had navigated the challenges with a uniquely human blend of creativity, adaptability, and an inexplicable ability to find joy in adversity. The Galactic Federation had sought to test humanity's worthiness. Instead, they were getting a crash course in what truly made humans a force to be reckoned with. And Lisa Chen, the unassuming gym teacher from Brisbane, was just getting started. As the arena prepared for the next trial, one thing became clear. The galaxy wasn't ready for humans, but it was certainly about to get a proper introduction. Rising stakes and alien conspiracies. As Lisa Chen's unorthodox success in the first trial spread through the galactic arena, ripples of unease began to spread among certain factions of the Federation. In a dimly lit chamber far from the prying eyes of the general populace, a clandestine meeting was taking place. "This is unacceptable," hissed Kraxner, a serpentine being from the Draconis system. "The human is making a mockery of our sacred trials." "Agreed," rumbled Zeth9, a crystalline entity pulsing with internal light. "If she continues like this, other species might start questioning the very foundations of our galactic order." Admiral Zaxlora, who had been summoned to this meeting of the Shadow Council, shifted uncomfortably. "With all due respect, council members, isn't that the point of these trials? To learn about new species and adapt our understanding." Kraxner's forked tongue flicked out in irritation. You grow soft, Admiral. These trials are meant to put newcomers in their place, not elevate them. The human must be stopped, Zeth9 intoned, by any means necessary. As the council debated, Lissa was blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around her. She was in the arena's recreation area, teaching a group of alien competitors how to play hacky sack with a makeshift ball. The trick is, she explained, keeping the ball aloft with her knee. You've got to go with the flow. Don't fight gravity. Work with it. A gelatinous being attempted to mimic her movements, only to have the ball pass right through its body. Lissa laughed good-naturedly. Okay, maybe we need to adjust the rules for non-solid players. That's the beauty of games. They can always be adapted. As the impromptu hacky sack session continued, Dr. Rodriguez approached, her face etched with concern. Lisa, can I speak with you for a moment? Excusing herself from the group, Lisa joined the doctor. What's up, Doc? You look like you've seen a ghost. Wait, do you guys have ghosts? Because if so, I have so many questions. Dr. Rodriguez couldn't help but smile despite her worry. No ghosts, Lisa, but I've been hearing rumors. Some factions within the Federation aren't happy with your performance in the trials. Lisa's eyebrows shot up. Not happy, but I passed the test, didn't I? You did more than pass, Rodriguez explained. You're changing the game, and that scares them. I think they might try to sabotage you in the upcoming trials. Lisa's usual grin faded, replaced by a look of determination. Well then, guess we'll just have to stay on our toes, won't we? The next trial proved Dr. Rodriguez's fears well-founded. What was supposed to be a test of diplomacy and cultural understanding had been twisted into a deadly game of political intrigue. Lisa found herself in a simulated alien court, tasked with navigating complex social hierarchies to broker a peace treaty. However, it quickly became apparent that the simulation had been rigged. No matter what approach Lisa took, she seemed to offend one faction or another. As tensions in the simulated court rose, Lisa noticed something odd. The reactions of the AI-driven alien diplomats seemed to flicker occasionally, revealing glimpses of their true programming. It's all a game, Lisa muttered to herself. Then, louder, it's all a game. The alien diplomats froze, confused by this outburst. Lisa stood on the ornate table, addressing the entire court. This whole thing is rigged. We're not meant to succeed. But you know what? That's okay, because the real test isn't about winning. It's about how we play. With that, Lisa began to explain the concept of good sportsmanship to the bewildered alien eyes. She talked about fair play, respect for opponents, and the importance of integrity over victory. As she spoke, the simulation began to glitch, unable to compute this unexpected input. In the control room, technicians scrambled to regain control, but Lisa's words had introduced a variable they hadn't accounted for. The simulation collapsed, leaving Lisa standing alone in an empty chamber. A slow clap echoed through the arena as Admiral Zaxlora approached. Impressive, Ms. Chen, the Admiral said, her appendages twisting in what Lisa now recognized as admiration. You saw through the deception and turned it into a lesson. But I'm afraid the next trial won't be so easily overcome. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Who's behind this, Admiral? This isn't just about testing Earth anymore, is it? Zaxlora's compound eyes seemed to dim. Politics, Ms. Chen. The galaxy is vast, but fear, it seems, is universal. As Lisa prepared for the next trial, whispers of her latest feat spread through the arena. Other competitors began to look at her with newfound respect, and some even approached her for advice. How do you do it? Asked a multi-limbed being Lisa had mentally dubbed Squid Face. How do you keep smiling in the face of such challenges? Lisa considered the question. You know, back on Earth, we have this saying. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. It means taking bad situations and finding a way to make them work for you. That's what humans do best. We adapt, we improvise, and we try to have a little fun along the way. As night fell on the galactic arena, Lisa sat in her quarters, poring over the data she'd collected on the trials and her competitors. She knew the next challenge would be the toughest yet, designed specifically to break her spirit. A knock at her door revealed Dr. Rodriguez. "Lisa, I've got news. The final trial. It's going to be a direct combat scenario. They're pitting you against the Federation's reigning champion." Lisa let out a low whistle. "Well, that's not very sporting of them, is it? Any intel on this champion?" Rodriguez shook her head. "Not much. All I know is that they call it the Amalgam. It's supposedly designed to be the perfect warrior, combining the strengths of multiple species." Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then a slow grin spread across her face. "Perfect, huh? Well, perfection is overrated. You know what beats perfect? Unexpected. And if there's one thing humans are good at, it's being unpredictable." As Lisa began to outline her plan, Dr. Rodriguez couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. The galaxy had tried to put humanity in its place, but they had unwittingly awakened a force they couldn't comprehend: human ingenuity. The final trial loomed, with the fate of Earth standing in the galactic community hanging in the balance. But as the arena prepared for the ultimate showdown, one thing was certain: Lisa Chen, the unassuming gym teacher from Brisbane, was about to give the Galactic Federation a lesson they'd never forget. The stage was set for a battle that would echo across the stars, proving once and for all what it truly meant to be human. The final trial and humanity's triumph. The galactic arena thrummed with an electric tension as spectators from across the cosmos gathered for the final trial. News of the humans' unconventional approaches had spread like wildfire, drawing unprecedented attention to what was usually a formality for new species joining the Federation. Lisa Chen stood at one end of the vast arena, looking small and insignificant against the backdrop of alien technology and grandeur. Across from her loomed her opponent, the Amalgam. It was a sight that would have sent most beings running in terror. The Amalgam lived up to its name. It appeared to be a monstrous combination of the most fearsome aspects of a dozen different species. Tentacles writhed beneath a chitinous exoskeleton, while multiple eyes swiveled independently, taking in every detail of its surroundings. Its form seemed to shift and change, adapting to the environment in real time. Admiral Zaxlora's voice boomed across the arena. "Champions, this final trial will test not just your physical prowess, but your very essence as representatives of your species. The victor will secure their world's place in the Galactic Federation. The loser, well, let us hope it doesn't come to that." In the stands, Dr. Rodriguez clutched her datapad tightly, her knuckles white. Next to her, a delegation from Earth watched with bated breath. The future of humanity's place among the stars rested on the shoulders of a gym teacher from Brisbane. As the starting signal blared, the Amalgam wasted no time. It lunged at Lisa with frightening speed, its form shifting to create razor-sharp appendages. Lisa, however, didn't move. Instead, she stood her ground, a small smile playing on her lips. At the last second, Lisa sidestepped, allowing the Amalgam to rush past her. "Bit eager, aren't we?" she quipped. "Didn't anyone teach you the importance of warming up?" The Amalgam whirled, clearly confused by Lisa's lack of fear. It let out a bone-chilling roar that shook the very foundations of the arena. Lisa simply started doing jumping jacks. "That's the spirit," she called out. "Always good to get the blood pumping before a big match." The audience watched in bewildered silence as Lisa continued her warm-up routine, all while deftly avoiding the Amalgam's increasingly frustrated attacks. She turned deadly lunges into impromptu limbo sessions and used swipes of massive claws as opportunities for stretches. "You know," Lisa said conversationally as she ducked under a swinging tentacle, "back on Earth, we have this game called tag. I think you'd be great at it. Want to play?" Before the Amalgam could react, Lisa tapped it on what passed for its shoulder and took off running. "You're it," she called over her shoulder. Confusion turned to indignation as the amalgam realized it was being made a fool of. It gave chase, its form streamlining for pure speed. But Lysa was always one step ahead, using the arena's terrain to her advantage, swinging from fixtures and sliding under obstacles. In the observation deck, the Shadow Council watched with growing unease. "This is unprecedented," cracks Norgist. "The human isn't even trying to fight." Zeth-9's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "She's turning our sacred combat trial into some sort of game." Admiral Zaxlora, however, watched with growing fascination. "Perhaps," she mused, "this is combat for them." Back in the arena, Lysa had managed to tire out the amalgam. The creature, for all its perfection, had been designed for straightforward combat. It wasn't prepared for an opponent who treated mortal peril like a schoolyard game. "All right," Lysa said, slightly out of breath but still grinning. "How about we try something a little different? Ever heard of Simon Says?" To everyone's astonishment, Lysa began to lead the amalgam through a series of movements, each prefaced with "Simon Says." The creature, driven by its programming to analyze and adapt, found itself mimicking Lysa's actions. Slowly, the deadly dance of combat transformed into something resembling a bizarre aerobics class. As the strange spectacle unfolded, something remarkable began to happen. Laughter, tentative at first, then growing in volume, began to ripple through the alien spectators. Species that had never known humor in the way humans did found themselves experiencing joy in the face of what should have been a grave and serious event. The amalgam, confused by the sounds of mirth surrounding it, began to lose coherence. Its perfect form, designed to be the ultimate warrior, wasn't equipped to handle the concept of play in the midst of combat. As Lysa led it through an increasingly silly series of movements, the amalgam's form began to shimmer and destabilize. With a final, triumphant "Simon Says," "Take a bow," Lysa watched as the amalgam's form collapsed entirely, dissolving into a puddle of inert nanites. Silence fell over the arena. Then, slowly, a cheer began to build. It started with the other competitors Lysa had befriended during the trials and spread until the entire arena was filled with a cacophony of alien sounds united in celebration. Admiral Zaxlora approached Lysa, her appendages twitching in what was now unmistakably awe. "Miss Chen," she said, her voice carrying across the arena, "in all my cycles, I have never seen anything like this. You have not only bested our champion, but have taught us all a valuable lesson. The trial is yours, and humanity's place in the Galactic Federation is secured." Lysa, still catching her breath, grinned up at the Admiral. "Thanks, but I think you've got it backward. It wasn't about me beating your champion. It was about showing you what humanity is really about. We don't just adapt to challenges. We transform them. We find joy in adversity, laughter in fear, and turn enemies into playmates. That's the real strength of humanity." As the implications of Lysa's words sank in, a ripple of change began to spread through the Galactic Federation. The Shadow Council found their influence waning as more and more species began to question the old ways of fear and dominance. In the days that followed, Lysa Chen became an unlikely diplomat, teaching alien species the value of play, adaptability, and finding common ground through shared joy. The galactic arena, once a place of deadly trials, began to transform into a center for cultural exchange and cooperative games. And as for humanity, their reputation as Deathworlders took on a whole new meaning. They became known not for their ability to survive a harsh world, but for their capacity to find light in the darkest places, to forge connections across unfathomable differences, and to face the unknown with a smile and a willingness to learn. As Lysa prepared to return to Earth, now as a hero and ambassador, she turned to Admiral Zaxlora. "You know," she said with a wink, "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. How about we organize an intergalactic sports day next year?" The Admiral's appendages curled in what Lysa now recognized as a smile. "Ms. Chen, I believe the galaxy would be delighted. But perhaps we should start with something simple. How about that game you mentioned? Tag, was it? Lisa laughed, a sound that had become beloved across the stars. Admiral, you're on. But fair warning, Earth's going to dominate the three-legged race. As her ship departed, carrying her back to the blue marble she called home, Lisa couldn't help but feel excited for the future. The galaxy had tried to test humanity, but in the end, it was humanity that had changed the galaxy. And this, she knew, was just the beginning of a grand new adventure among the stars. The universe, vast and full of wonders, had finally met its match in the indomitable, playful spirit of humanity, and it would never be the same again.